Good afternoon, students. This is designing technology DT31. It is it's just to prepare you for the August exams. Okay, let's start with a bar chart. Now, a bar chart graph is a visual display. It is used to compare the amounts or the frequency of occurrences of different characteristics of data. A bar graph displays data visually, and it is sometimes called a bar chart. Now let me explain what that means. You will use the data. It can either be displayed horizontally or vertically, and we use a bar chart to explain information or characteristics or amounts of the times of and frequencies. Which means if you give the children a test in a class, there's boys and girls, you want to later on, you want on a bar chart, you want to see, did the girls do better than the boys, or did they do the same, or did the boys do they need more help, and where exactly do they need the help? So let me go and show you what a bar chart is now all about, what I'm talking about now. So can you see the second slide now? This is a bar chart. Now I will give you scores of, for example, of one of the children or of boys and girls. Then I want you to take the scores. I want you to find out what units are there. What that means, the grade level. For example, maybe it's maths or it's science. Then I want you to write the greatest level. So you must first give me the percentage, and then you will come to the least value. Then you must give me the percentage. Then I want you to draw a bar chart like this in the exam. So which means you need coloring pencils. You cannot just go with a pen and a pencil, because I want you to color them in different colors, so that you can also see which one is higher and which one is lower. And then you will see on the left side, the vertical side that I'm talking about, you will write in the scores in percentage. It can either be maths or history or science or something. And then at the bottom where it says the horizontal, that one that is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, that is horizontally, you will write the grade level. So you must take the information that I will give you, and then you must make a score like this. So you must look in your notes, so that you can be sure what a bar chart is all about. So for the first one, you need to explain it for 10 marks. And the second one is you will draw it. In your book, you will draw it and color it in different colors. So that is what the bar chart is all about, so that you can see which ones are doing better, the boys or the girls, or they did exactly the same, or which children have higher marks and which children have lower marks, so that you can identify which children need extra help and which children need more advanced work in the class. So but that is what the bar chart is all about. Now we get to the chain drives. There are two kinds of drives. The one is a belt drive and the other one is a chain drive. Now, in simple terms, what a chain drive is all about, we can also say what kind of thing use a chain. We can think of a bicycle. Now, I want you to write the advantages and the disadvantages. If you say a chain drive, you can also use an example when you say, for example, a bicycle, which is a simple thing that you can use. Then you say the advantages of this chain drive in the bicycle is there's no slippage and there's no stretch, and it has a long operating life. Remember, when we talk about a long operating life, means maybe your father gave you the bicycle, and then the bicycle, after you don't use it again, you can give it to your child, and your child can give it to his child, which means for generations they can use the same bicycle. That is why we talk about a long operating life. Then the disadvantages is, remember, when it goes now from generation to generation, it becomes noisier eventually. And the second one is, it can also wear, the chain can wear out, the teeth can wear out, and the spokes need to be replaced because it is old and it is worn out. So there are two kinds that I want you to explain. I want you to explain the belt drive, or the advantages and disadvantages, and I want you to explain the chain drive, also the advantages and the disadvantages. So don't make long sentences, just make, like I did here, just bullet points, because it's only for 10 marks. So don't take a lot of time explaining long sentences. That is not what I want. Let us go to the next one. Now we come to the plastic properties. Now what does that mean? Plastics have numerous properties that make them superior to other materials in many applications. Plastics generally have resistance to corrosion or chemicals. It has a low electrical and thermal conductivity, which means, what do we know about plastic? We know that plastic can be used over and over. It can be recycled so that other products of plastic can be made. Especially when we go to Chinatown, you will see a lot of toys that have been made by plastic, and it's also very cheap. And even if the toy is lying outside for a few days, and even if it's raining or the wind is strong, there's not a lot of damage to the product or to the toy, because it is plastic. And plastic, even if it lies in the sun, it can lie in the sun for a long time, and not much will happen to it. That is why I said it is resistant to corrosion and chemicals. And then you must just think of different things that you can do with plastic. You can use it in the house, and you can make plastic. You can also color in different colors, and plastic is also resistant to shock, and it's also safe for children to play with, and it's durable also, and low cost, and it's easy to manufacture. So why do you think the Chinese will now go to plastic? Because it's cheap. They like to make cheap things but still make a lot of money. And once that toy breaks, then you can't use it again. You throw it away, and the people that do the recycling will just recycle the plastic and they make another one. And that is why Chinatown, they make a lot of money, because everything is made out of plastic and it is very cheap. So we must also think, we must not just throw things away, we must throw them in a recycling bin so that other people can recycle the stuff and reuse it again. Now we come to the frame structures. There's lots of frame structures that you can use. You can use the frame structure, you can use a shell structure, a solid or a mass structure. So all three of them, you can either explain two of them or all three of them, but it must just be short because it's only for 10 marks. So let us start with the frame structure. Now a frame structure supports their load using a combination of many small parts, such as the beams, the columns, the struts, and the ties, for example, electricity. Now let me further explain to you why will we use a frame. When I just go back to the bicycle again. When you take a bicycle frame, Just take your child's bicycle and just look at the frame of that bicycle. It's made out of steel, or and then you can warm it up and bend it into different shapes. So there's not much about that you have to learn. You must just look at the thing and go study. And then explain to me what you can use it for. Will it be safe for a child to ride on it? Will it be safe for remember, if we take a frame structure, you can use it for a wheelchair for old people, or for children. You can use a bicycle, and different things that you must just think what kind of things you can make with this frame structure. So you don't have to explain long things. It's just one or two of these structures that you must explain for 10 marks. So each one will just count for 5 marks. So let's go on to the next one. Now we get to the challenges of being self-employed. Remember the same thing that you learned last year? It's exactly the same thing that you will do now. But now you will put around, remember you had a skeleton last year of being your own boss, but now in the third year, you must just put a bit more meat around the skeleton. So let us start. When you are your own boss, you make all your own decisions. Sometimes you are going to get stuck making decisions in areas that you don't know much about. Now let me explain what that means. For example, if you are your own boss, you have to make decisions of what time will your business open, for how long will you open the business, will you work overtime, are you going to employ people. If you say it's not feasible for your business, you will not have a lot of profit, then you will rather do everything yourself. But if you see you can employ 1 or 2 people, make sure that you have enough profit to pay them every month, because you cannot employ somebody just for a month and let the person go. Otherwise you will not have a good trail record. And then you must also look at the economic climate of the world and also of Namibia itself. Is it stable or is it unstable? Will you make it if you employ people, or must you rather do it alone? And there's also the uncertainty of earnings. Like I just said, you don't earn enough, so you can employ a lot of people. And then it also has the wide variety of skills that you need to master. So if you are your own boss, you will have things like budgeting, marketing, legal aspects, and taxes. So sometimes you cannot do your taxes alone. You will have to call in somebody who can help you with your tax. You will also have somebody or get somebody in to help you with marketing, how to market your product. And sometimes you also need an accountant to help you in how to help you to put up your maybe you ask too little for your products, and then somebody can help you to give you advice. But it doesn't have to be a permanent employee. So it can just be somebody that can advise you, and the person you pay for that advice, and then you do it on your own. And then also, starting capital is very important. You need to make sure, if you are your own boss, will I use my own money, or will I make sure, or will I get money from an SME bank, or will I get a loan from another bank, or will I get a loan from a family member? So all these things you need to consider when you are being self-employed. So can you see, you need to think a lot about this, and you also need to put a lot of meat. So you need to read up a lot on this, and also talk to people with businesses, so that you can have experience about how you are going to go about. And if it is a good idea for you to come up with your own business, or will you rather work for somebody else, and then you will not have the headache. So let us go to the next one. The next one I want you to also think of is you must discuss the different reasons to use images in your marketing lesson. Sorry. So in your marketing lesson, you must read up and you must go into Facebook, read up what do you want, what can you do, and how can you get information from Facebook. You must also look on e-commerce, that site you must also look at, and also on online stores, how do they market things, how do they link to customers, how do they explain their quality, how do they give information, a description of anything that they can, how they will promote their business and their product. So those are also things that you need to read up on. And then also the challenges in having your own business, about the rent, the wages, the taxes, and the advertising. I want you to read up on that as also, so that when I ask something in the exams, that you can have an idea of what you must look at. When you look at the rent, you must look at a place that you can rent that you can afford, that you will not have your business there for a month or two, then you see, no, the rent is too high, I cannot make it, so I have to move from there. Then the customers are looking for you and you are not there. And then about wages is, are you going to employ people? Will it be 1 or 2 people? How big will your business be? How many employees will you have? Or are you going to do everything yourself? And then taxes, you must remember, if you have a business, you need to pay tax, because every citizen, not just in Namibia but across the world, have to pay taxes. And then how will you do your advertising? Like I just said, you can go to e-commerce, you can go to internet, you can go to Facebook, so that you can see how other people, or get ideas of how other people make use or how they make use of the internet, and how do they sell their products on the internet, so that you can just have ideas of what to do. So make sure that you also talk to business people and find out what kind of what kind of structures do they use. Do they just put a board in front of the business? Do they call people? Even if they sell the product, do they also do market research? Market research is when you call people and ask, how did you find my product? Did you like it? What about it do you like? Or are you going to put small flyers in your business that people, before they leave your business, they can fill in? Did they like the product? What do they think can be improved on the product, or things like that? So when you go into a business, look what they have. Do they have flyers or little slips that you must fill in? Do they call you after they sell the product to you? Even if you take your car in for a service, usually Toyota or Ford or any company, they will call you after a day or two and ask, are you satisfied with our service? Does the car give you any problem? Can you see? Those are all the things that they do marketing on, so that they can make their product better. So you must, when you take your car in or you buy something, you must always ask people, how do you do your market research? Because people will tell you, they will not think it's a funny question, but for you it is an important question, because that is how you generate information. That is how you learn from businesses. So to be your own boss is not such an easy thing. So you must learn from other people, because in the world we don't know everything. That is why we need to learn from other people. So I want you to learn a lot about this. In your third year, there's not a lot of maths that you need to do or drawings that you need to do like in the second year. So the maths part and the drawing part, like freehand chair or table or things, you don't have to go over that. So you must know a lot of how to write out a lesson or lesson plan, because in your third year you will also now remember, like I said, in the second year you will go to a primary school where you will teach grade 5, 6 and 7. When you do in your third year, you will most probably go to a high school. Then they will put you in grade 8, 9 and 10, where you will teach designing technology. Now remember, when you go out for practice teaching, those children in the high school, they are much tougher than the primary school. Primary school children will listen to you. They see you as somebody who can teach them things. In high school is quite different, because here children want to challenge you all the time. They want to see, do you know something about Facebook? Do you know something about e-commerce? Because remember, these children, they are very witty. They make use of the internet. Even if you are busy with your lesson, they are busy on their phones. And if you tell them something, they will quickly Google under their desk and they will ask you questions just to trick you. So when you go to a high school, you must be careful, and you must always be a step ahead of them. Otherwise you will stand there, you will be embarrassed, the children will laugh at you, you will not have your self-esteem will be down the drain. The teacher will have to come in and rescue you maybe from your lesson, and the next day you will feel, it's not worth going there anymore. So make sure that you are well prepared. You must be a step ahead of them. So that is the end of my presentation. I hope I helped a lot. And then make sure, like I said, you must have more than one pen. You must take pencil, a sharpener, eraser, and again underline important things, and make sure that you write in paragraphs. Don't just write everything on just left, right and center. Like some people, when they are painting, a wall, you cannot see where the person stopped and where the person starts. So don't write like a painter. You must write in a chronological order. This is what you will say first, this is what you will say second. And don't make use of long sentences. Just make use of bullet points. Only when I ask you to explain something, then you explain thoroughly. Otherwise, you will use time and you will use a lot of effort to go to extents that I don't want. So make sure that you check your question and the marks that are allocated to, and then make sure that you also make a lot of make a lot of examples that you, and especially things that you know, that you make an example of something that you know. So that if I say explain it, that you know, I know how to explain this. Like I said about the frame, that you can use different things when you must explain it. And so my cell phone number is the same as last year, 081 644 2582, and then you can still call me after school from 1 or 2 until 5 o'clock, and during the night or the evenings you can just send me an SMS and I'll get back to you. And remember, if you send an SMS, please make sure that you address me in the correct order. You cannot just send me an SMS, hello Arenda. No, then I immediately delete it, because I don't see respect in that SMS. So if you want me to respect you, please respect me in return, so that we can start and end in a proper manner. So that is the end of my presentation.